Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Move, a show where we share transportation, sales, and marketing success stories. I'm Jennifer Karpus-Romaine, Executive Director at the Transportation Marketing and Sales Association, which is a trade nonprofit educating and connecting marketing and sales professionals in transportation and logistics. And today I'm very excited to have on the show Kim Cockrell Corley, who is the founder and CEO of Upward Bound Ventures, and she is our 2024 Sales Mountain Mover. It is a mouthful when you say it all together. Welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And what does this award mean to you?
Gosh, from the highly respected colleague that nominated me to everybody that's ever trusted me in this industry, it just means so much. So, to me, a sales mountain mover is somebody that can inspire the trust of, peers, customers, different industry stakeholders, and invite them on this journey to defy odds and, move the needle forward. So to have been able to experience that and earn the trust of people in this industry, it means so much to me. We have a lot of talented sellers and commercial leaders in this industry, so it's quite an honor.
Well, we are so happy to have you, and we are here at the TMSA Executive Summit in Hoboken, New Jersey. I'm actually laughing because as we record this, the sun is coming up over New York City. You guys can't see that, but we can, but you can see the lighting change behind us as we continue on in this interview. But it is beautiful, and it was really exciting to be able to give you the award live and in person.
Yes,
so
thank you.
You started in this industry at a pretty young age, and at a international level with the early part of your career moving to Panama. What was that like? And how I was reading all about you. I'm like, wow, like you have a lot of international experience at a young age, and that probably is really intimidating.
It's been such a fun ride. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my career, but I could tell you from a young age that it had to be international. So I actually had the opportunity to go work while I was in college as an intern for Walt Disney World. And so for me, that was the first time I had really been in a truly multicultural environment. And I came back from that experience and I enrolled myself I'm going to minor in Spanish. I'm going to get in international logistics and, let's go. And I went to my first international logistics course and I go, this is it. I mean, not just the problem solving that we do every day in logistics, but also just the idea of recognizing and practicing gestures that deepen connections between people in different cultures, conducting business according to the norms of a different country or culture, that totally energized me and I was signed up, But I think right after college, I interviewed with Maersk. Didn't have any idea how to say their name. Probably still butcher it today a little bit.
When I was announcing it yesterday, as I was reading it, I was like, I may have not said this correctly. We'll just keep it moving.
Who knows? Depending on what part of the world you're in, it's Maersk. I don't know. But it ended up being one of the best decisions that I ever made. I mean, they really put a mark on me to, just be a global leader. And I'm so glad that I went on that journey. And with them, I got to go to many different countries. But your question about Panama, I think I might have a little Latina down in me. I really think I might because I just keep getting drawn back to roles in that part of the world or even just, travel for fun to that part of the world. So, saludos a mi amigos de Panama y todo Latinoamérica, my family in Sealand. So the culture, it's just so rich. They're so generous and hospitable in Latin America. And they really teach you gratitude and living with joy today. So, I mean, what's not to love? I had a great time. We actually, in that role, were the pioneering team that moved the Central American Caribbean headquarters out of the North American cluster and kind of established a presence in Latin America for that part of Maersk. So it was an epic time. I loved it.
And you then have worked at that company, you were able to travel to other places as well. So not just Panama, but you also lived and worked in the United Arab Emirates and Belgium. So how do you think that international scope really helped shape your career?
Yeah, it's been defining, and I'm so grateful for it. Every time that I've spent a significant amount of time in a country, I've ended up really blessed to have met local people who helped me understand and really like immerse myself in that culture and vice versa. And so I ran with a super eclectic crowd, like all my, for years. I mean, some of my closest friends are Emiratis, Sri Lankans, Persians, Aussies, South Africans, and we're really not all that different. And when you are yourself and you treat people with integrity, it really builds trust. And it's not that different in business at all. So I would say that there were some nuances, coming into roles such as, managing a P&L or a trade route in the UAE, or managing Middle Eastern commercial efforts or regions, or Europe. There were situations in which there were assumptions made about who I was or the value that I would or wouldn't be able to bring as an outsider to that role. Mm. And I think it really helped me to just define or refine rather my ability to connect with people by overcoming those assumptions through really earning their trust and delivering results. So I think that, and just the ability to really build rapport with people across country and culture lines and just find something that really unites us and makes us similar.
I love that. You also, not unsurprisingly, hearing your journey and your story, were named a trailblazer in the 2024 Women in Supply Chain by Supply and Demand Chain Executive in Food Logistics. I looked at how you acknowledged that award on LinkedIn, and you credited so much of your journey to the teams that you worked with, mentors who guided you, opportunities that you had to learn and grow, which I really appreciated that sentiment. I think it's good to reflect on how we got to where we are and then how we keep going. So, but I think sometimes, especially being a woman in this industry, it can be hard to find mentors or going after that or knowing who to approach. So do you have any advice for people that are looking to seek them? How did you find your mentors? And then kind of, do you pay that forward and have mentees now?
Yes, great question. I think I'm still waiting for some older, wiser, more successful executive to come grab me by the shoulder and say,
let me guide you.
Let me guide you on this path towards ultimate success. But that hasn't happened for me. I would just say, to someone that wants one or, needs one in their life, you just have to seek out somebody that's doing it right and ask them for their time, and I think it's not always just going to be one mentor that can help you your whole career. I think if you're going out there and you're taking chances and you're taking risks, the problem set is going to constantly evolve, and you may need a different leader for that. Mm-hmm. So I think I've been very lucky I've had managers. I had this one particular manager that, as I stepped into a people management role, she just really helped me recognize the importance of setting healthy cadences and rhythms with my teams, and really just shared her tips and tricks for being a successful leader. And then I respected that relationship so much that we've maintained it. And, we help each other now. And sometimes she might actually say, like, hey, you're mentoring me in this way. And, and I get so much from her. I would say too, there have been, problems or when I've hit walls in my career, I've not been afraid to reach up and say, hey, give this a sanity check. I need just 30 minutes of your time. This is what I'm dealing with. Put your eyes on this and tell me what I'm missing. Mm-hmm. So I think, and that's one of the first things that I did too. When I started this consulting business, I reached out to leading supply chain consultants. I was like, tell me how you got here. Tell me how you set yourself up for success, and how are you adding the most value possible for your customers? And that was awesome. So to anybody that needs one, just reach out to somebody who is excelling in your deficit areas. Be specific with the ask. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jen, I would love 30 minutes of your time to help me unpack problem X, and come prepared, use their time. And if it's a connection, repeat with a new agenda. People want to help people. And yes, I do try to help. If there's anybody that I can help, love to do it. So yes.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I remember one time it was actually a podcaster, which is funny because we're on a podcast now, but it was a marketing one. And I just really liked it. And I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and I pretty much did that. Like, can I just pick your brain on things marketing? She's like, you were a real person asking me something real, and you weren't like a robot or someone trying to sell me something. So I just organically said yes. And that was one of the first times I ever did that. And so I think that's true. There's a lot of value in that. And I do think, which this is potentially a selfish plug for TMSA, but getting involved in associations, getting involved in networking spaces is really helpful, because then those asks are a little bit more organic, because you meet people at a show or a conference, or you're networking with them. And so you're a little bit more comfortable to then have that ask, as opposed to just reaching out on LinkedIn or doing something. So
100%.
getting involved, not just with TMSA, but wherever you want to, can be a big help with that, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I met a gentleman last night. He was just like, I don't want the pitch. Like, if I've met you, I will do anything for you. But I just need to know who you are. So, yeah.
And what do you think, well, this is a big pivot. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the transportation and logistics industry today? And how can leaders build towards a better tomorrow for it?
That is such a tough one. I think the reason that we love and hate logistics is because you can literally turn on the news any given day and go, ooh, that is going to impact my business in a negative or a positive way. And we have really smart people that make excellent plans for their company. They make a great freight budget. They have a great strategy. And then the minute they lock it down, some geopolitical event somewhere far, far away happens, and it topples everything and leaves everybody scrambling. And I don't think that's ever going to change. So I don't have something super wise to say, but I think that that's the thing that everybody's grappling with is, okay, we've got strikes over here. We've got weather over here. We've got tension over here.
Literally the past week you just described, just 1 week in logistics.
In 22 years, I've never not had a week. I mean, that's how it is. It's just, what is the next storm, proverbial storm that's coming our way? But I think that there are 3 paths that a company can take to, they can either do nothing, and just be reactive and scramble. They can increase their safety stock and therefore their inventory carrying costs. But I think that we've come a long way. And since I've been in this industry, I've seen some major shifts toward really good technology that can help companies see how they're sticking to their plan, get it back on track, and really tighten up the communication with their origin and partners and contingency plan. So I think there's a lot of really great tech that's in this industry now, and that's really exciting.
And tell us a little bit about Upward Brand Ventures. So you have this vast experience working at the actual companies that are, doing all the work, doing travel in the world, helping everybody. But now you started your own company. What does that look like, and why'd you get involved with that?
And I called it Upward Bound Ventures because I really like to grow things from the ground up. And so I just had this vision of, let's get this thing, the foundation laid for companies that want to succeed in sales and marketing, and just grow it from there. Over and over in my career at Maersk, I had the great opportunity to just go into kind of just greenfield. There's nothing there, territories or markets or launch companies that didn't exist, or we were reviving one that used to exist and in a different way. So that to me, and then 7 years at a fintech startup, just 0 to 1 company, nobody to look at in the industry or even elsewhere to say, okay, that's how you do it. There was no playbook. So it's really sharpened my problem solving capabilities, and I've tried a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things, and I feel like I've come up with a pretty good little secret sauce to help. It can be, I'm helping companies of all sizes, from multinational conglomerates, but really my passion is helping early stage or small to medium companies really get the sales and marketing right. And, it can be, I'm helping folks who just are having some issues with the customer journey and customer service, or it can be, I need to establish myself as a thought leader in this industry and get that inbound marketing machine working so that it's paving the way for sales. Or I'm helping folks whose salespeople just haven't quite figured out how to get their messaging with customers to resonate for the target segment that they want to be in. So it really is, across the board, just companies laying that foundation. And it just gives me so much joy to have all these new problems to help people solve. It's my favorite thing to do, and to just grow their company from the ground up.
Wonderful. And one thing I wanted to talk about too is you really are dedicated to your charitable work on top of the work that you do in the industry. And I was reading about, especially in the realm of mentoring young women, but supporting victims of trafficking. I spend time I donate to trafficking, but to stop trafficking.
Yeah.
Should emphasize that. But I volunteer on the Ohio Alliance to End Sexual Violence. I'm the board president there. So I was really excited when I was reading about that. So I would love to just talk about it and how you contribute, and if people are interested in getting involved or helping, how they can do that and why you kind of dedicate some of your time there.
Yeah, I've always been passionate about serving. It's just a big component to my faith. I even met my husband in Guatemala while we were doing mission work. He's from Iowa, and I met him. I was living in Atlanta, and just that's how we met. And we really got involved quickly with youth at our church and our youth group, and we just have a burden for the depression, the anxiety, and the lack of identity that teenagers have today. And I think, if you ask God to, break your heart for what breaks his, he really will. And I think one day I heard this founder come and talk about the work that they were doing to rescue women who were victims of sex trafficking. And he lamented that they were starting to see an influx of teens and children, and that wrecked me. I mean, it absolutely wrecked me, because not only is it tough enough to be a teenager today with just the bombardment of messaging and things that aren't true and just confusion and rejection of social media and things like that. How do you add that to it and come back and make your life successful? So I don't have anything to add. I've never been impacted by this huge issue. I just was compassionate, and I made time, and I just reached out, and I was like, what can I do? I live here in this city, and I can help. Somehow, what can I do? Can I cut grass? What can I do? And they didn't actually even have a volunteer program. They gave me a bunch of forms that they made, and, like that day, and like sign these things, and, come, and so I think I'm the only volunteer that I think they have at this place, this nonprofit at the moment. But I just come, and we either will bake, or we'll do nails, or sometimes we have dance parties, or we'll play Uno. Whatever. I just roll with it, And I would say that most days I come home and I'm like, I don't know that I made any impact. It was very surface level. But then some days you come home and you're like, I think I just planted a nugget. I just gave that person hope. We just had a deep laugh, and I'm not going to be able to solve their problems. I wish that I could, but just to love on them and to just speak truth and positivity into their lives and encourage them. That's what I want to do. So if anybody's wanting to get involved, I would say find the cause. If it's something else, find the cause that wrecks you and call them.
Yes, I think it's really important to find what you're passionate about, and then it's easier to find the time to donate, to go there. So, okay, so my favorite question to ask everyone, it's one that I ask every single person who comes on the show. If you could go back in time and advise a younger Kim anything, and this could be personally or professionally, when would you go back to, and what would you tell her?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would say failure is a gift. It really is, in some awkward way. And I think that the greatest development that I personally have experienced is when things didn't go the way that I wanted them to. And I think that you have the opportunity in that situation to reflect on the situation, really contemplate it, and pick out the things that you can own, the things that you can control, and set up a plan to act differently next time. And if you're putting yourself out there and you're taking on heavy challenges and really pushing forward, failure at some point is just going to come. And, I think even if the odds were stacked against you the whole time and you never had a chance to succeed, or it was unfair, you can still look at the situation and go, okay, what can I do next time to put myself in a better situation? Or what can I own from that? And how can I, modify behaviors in the future? So that would be part one. And I would say the other part of that is, do not let yourself, when failure comes, do not let yourself go into this narrative where you have this devil on your shoulder saying you are ill-equipped or you're really an imposter. That happens, right? It happens. It's really common for males, female, everybody experiences this imposter syndrome at some point. So don't don't listen to it, don't go into it, and don't go into a dark place, because this is normal and this is an opportunity to grow. So stay true to your North Star, keep on climbing, and know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
I would go back a few years and tell myself that for sure.
Yes, it definitely took me a long time to realize that your perspective matters. So if you're at a new company or you're doing something, and because I've been in that position where I worked at a tech company, I'm like, everyone is so much smarter than me because I don't. But then I was like, wait, but we're selling to sales and marketing people, and that's what I know. So my perspective matters. So I think it's important to kind of shift that sometimes and realize that you may be different, you may have different viewpoints, but that brings more perspective to the table. So
100%.
Everything is going to be better at the end.
Yes. I love that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am laughing at how the sun has traveled. I set up everything so perfectly before you showed up, and now, well, they can see you. I think I'm a little bit
I think
in the
they
shadow.
should be watching this sunrise.
Yeah, but you guys are missing out on the beautiful sunrise. But I appreciate you coming on the show today and for being here at Executive Summit. We are starting our day 2 in just a little bit. We're going to go grab our breakfast. But thank you to everyone who watched this live or listening to it where you get podcasts. Next week, we will be interviewing the Marketing Mountain Mover. So check that out, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.